Hello, it's me again. It's Will back at it with another video. I'm here, touch my hair again. Look at that. Do it every time. Hello, it's how I think. Hey, I'm back at it with another question. Something that's coming up for me today. Reflecting on it, thinking about it. So, question for today, it's a bit of a longer one, is what kinds of social power dynamics do you feel you're walking into? And where do you feel small in social situations? So this is a really interesting question, because I think for me, this points at, I guess, trauma responses with certain types of people that I've experienced and interacted with. So, social dynamics I often feel I'm walking into are, if I walk into a place with a man with a low voice, my body is primed to be scared. I don't like low voices. They scare me. It's funny. I have a lower voice. I don't think I have a super low voice, but I have a lower voice. So it's just interesting when I encounter a lower voice than mine, just because I'm on the lower end anyway, and I just think it's interesting that it freaks me out. And I've been reflecting on this, and I know there's a boss I've had historically that had a very low voice, a very boomy voice, a very intimidating voice, and I felt so intimidated by this guy. I was scared all the time being around him. I was always on edge. I was always just terrified. And that work environment, I think, significantly traumatized me. It makes it really hard. I think I've always had a challenge with people I've felt are authority figures. And I've fallen into kind of a pattern of, oh, you're like an authority figure, so I have to be like prim and proper and inauthentic around you. I have to be a certain way. I have to present myself in a really refined way. I have to seem intelligent and competent if I see you as an authority figure. And this presents a bunch of problems, I feel, because then I end up fawning, then I end up being someone I'm not, and then that actually leads to me, kind of lying. And I'm not proud of that. I actually feel a little anxious saying that, because in authority figures, with authority figures, I feel like I have to just try and warp what's happening around to what I assume they want, which involves me lying, and it's so subconscious until afterwards, and I'm like, oh my god, I lied there, and that wasn't useful and wasn't helpful, and I'm actually setting myself up for more conflict that I don't want, and I'm really scared. So I do this, I think, in part because I've been around unstable men in my life, I feel, and that's just a couple instances where they've demonstrated their instability, and I'm quite sensitive. So when I've seen that, it's been a signal to me hey, I should be careful here. I should tread carefully. I shouldn't make any sudden movements. I shouldn't do anything crazy or wild. I should just keep in my lane and keep safe. Okay, so when I notice there's somebody that has a low voice, I assume that they're powerful, and then I'm oh shit, this is someone I have to be wary of. This is someone I have to be careful around, or I'm going to incur damage. So those kinds of social power dynamics are really apparent in my head. Anyone who's equal, or I don't really even think about it as anyone is equal or less than me. I don't really think about that consciously that much, though that might be somewhere in my interactions for sure. I'm sure it is. But for me, the ones where people feel they have more power than me is quite intimidating. I guess I used to feel this before I got with my wife, and I was looking for a partner in a way. I felt women had a bit more social power than I did, and maybe this maybe a me thing. But I felt I couldn't say a lot of things. I couldn't be that authentic. Or be as authentic as I'd like to be. I think I was eventually quite authentic, and I think that's what landed me and my wife, to be honest. But now that's not really a problem, I think, because I'm married and I just don't even think about the possibility of getting into a relationship with anyone else. I'm pretty chill on that front, which is great. But what kind of social power dynamics do I feel I'm walking into is still a question in my head, because like I want to like do more, I want to be more, I want to be more kind of entrepreneurial. That's something I really had in my head recently, and these social power dynamics I think really affect like my ability to want to put myself out there more, to be more authentic, to be more vulnerable. Because I guess I'm really worried about like somebody I perceive to have a lot of social power to come in and just like knock me down and shatter me into pieces, which is a significant roadblock, because I guess I assume I'm going to go into business environments. There are going to be a bunch of people that like have maybe a similar constitution to this guy who was my boss previously. It really scares me. I think about going to networking events, and I'm like, man, I don't know about that, because I'm going to walk in and there's going to be someone who's going to trigger me, and I'm going to be like, no, don't want to be here. And it's happened a few times, and I've just wanted to leave. You know, that's certainly the part where I felt small in social situations, where I've been in an environment where somebody's like just being, they might maybe be friendly, probably literally have nothing to do with me, and like I'm triggered. I'm like, bro, no. So I just like pull back. I pull back in like an agreeable, acceptable way, but like I'm not super present. I'm like, I'm gonna be over here, I'm gonna be safe, I'm gonna make myself very, very polite and agreeable, but I'm not gonna be me. I'm going to be distant to protect myself, because if I'm authentic, I'm going to get knocked down. And I find it really hard to be authentic, especially my art. The thing is, in my art, music, I can only be authentic. So that's why I find it really hard to share it with people, because I can only be like 100% raw. There's like no slider on that for me. And that really comes into the power dynamics that I feel I'm walking into. Like that side of myself that like talks about and thinks about music and is excited about creativity, that's not on the table. When I'm around people I perceive to be a threat or an authority, which is an interesting challenge, because especially in entrepreneurial circles, my impression is that it's about creativity, right? It's about like, you know, disrupting a market or bringing a new kind of solution on the table, or executing a solution, doing that well, and then sourcing finance, income, etc. from doing that. And I feel like maybe as I talk about this, maybe I just need to go to networking events and just see what that's like, and just talk to people, because I like talking to people. I talk to people for my work, and I have very deep conversations with people, and I love that. And I've had deep conversations with people that I perceive to be powerful that have triggered me a lot, and actually I've gained a lot from it and their perspective, and like they're not that scary. But it's interesting how that trauma response lingers, and it affects me and how I navigate the world and how I feel about myself, and the kind of anxieties that come up when I think about even like extending myself and growing and leaning into that growing edge. You know, am I going to hit a wall where I'm triggered and then I disengage because of a perceived social dynamic that I feel I can't navigate and traverse because of my trauma profile? And then is that going to lead in failure? Because I think like historically that has kind of led to me failing. I think I've had a lot of opportunities, and I've just been like, there's a possibility this group of people could be there, and I don't know what to do with this group of people, so I'm going to just run away now so I don't have to face that. And a lot of guilt and shame comes up for me when I think about that, honestly. But I think it's really important to look at, because I get so much out of like working with people and being with people and learning from people. Like, and it's an interesting dichotomy, because I've really grown in some ways, and also this triggered trauma response is still there. And it makes me think like, why can't I? What about these people, these entrepreneurial authorities? Or just authorities in general. Like, why can't I connect with them? What about the rules there keep me in the box I assume they want? they probably don't want that at all. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. And when there's a vacuum of information, anxiety comes into play. I think that's certainly what's happening for me here. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What kinds of social power dynamics do you feel you're walking into? And where do you feel small in social situations? I think that's my answer to those questions. But thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate you. I appreciate if you're listening. I appreciate if you're not. If nobody ever hears this, cool with me. I've done some interesting reflections here. But yeah, like and subscribe. I value all of you. Take care. And I'll see you in the next one.